G'day crew, welcome to Goat Fantasy. It's the Monday Rage Trade edition. Goat Fantasy brought to you by checkmyrate.au. Visit the website, it's free to use. Take control of your financial future. Nice to have your company. Monday Rage Trades, and just to let you know, it is a full house in the recording studio. Max is in his racing car, and Dennis and Raymond are here as well, and having a play fight. And that is family life for you doing a podcast. So if your patience would be appreciated if there's a noise in the background. But a bit to get through this week after another big weekend of fantasy football. And I'm off to Hawthorn this morning, so I'm in a bit of a time crunch, but I wanted to get through some of our targets for the week, and of course what we're looking at from a trade perspective. So we get through the weekends somewhat unscathed, although we lose Devon Robertson from our forward line. Luckily we're covered with best 18, but if you're a Tristan Sherry owner, particularly in Supercoach, with a 3-game suspension, you would think that is going to be a pretty easy trade. It's just a question of where you want to go. So let's start with the premiums that we want to bring in this week. And Marcus Bontempelli looms very large, coming off a really strong start to the season and a bye week for the Western Bulldogs, and with a very favourable matchup against Essendon. So I'm not going to be the one to tell you to not spend up and bring in the Bont, because the rewards, you'd think, will be instantaneous. And of course, he's a keeper for the rest of the year. I believe he is the most expensive player in Supercoach, but well worth the money. And then if you do have Tristan Sherry, it's hard to look past Max Gawn, who has made such a strong start to the year. I think our assessment of the impact of the ruck rules, yes, hello Max, is that the best are still going to get the job done. And I think Tristan is clearly hampered by the lack of a jump, a lack of a leap, and he's going to be exposed against certain rucks. But it doesn't look like Max Gawn is going to be as affected. So great scores to start the year. I think we can still lean on Max as our R1 or R2. And so, I mean, Nick Dacos stands out clearly. If you didn't want to spend up last week, perhaps this is the time to do it if you've got a bit of cash in the bank. So from a mid-prices perspective across the board, so Colby McKercher sort of sticks out as the one that if you're brave enough to do it, he is so well priced, and he has slotted back into a half-back role, at least for a decent portion of the game. It was against Essendon, that's a flag, but he got a huge amount of handball receives, and looks like he's the guy again for North alongside Luke Parker. The amount of time they were just passing the ball to each other was just outstanding. So Colby in the back line is a nice move for you if you want to move on a Windsor or a Blackiston, or you've made the mistake of getting Wayne Miller up. Perhaps it's an easy sideways move. And then in the forward line, I think Josh Rachele has officially stuck his hand up, if he hadn't already, as being a really affordable option in the forward line. If you want to go there, if you didn't go Brian Myers last week, I think Josh Rachele, even with Jordan Dawson coming back, is going to be a really solid option for us. And then Shea Bolton in the forward line as well. CBAs were through the roof, above 70%, and without Hayden Young in the team and some question marks about his hamstring and his durability, Shea Bolton settled into Freo in his second year. Looks like he could be a really good budget option. Finn O'Sullivan scored really well in Supercoach, did a great job on Zach Merritt. Maybe he's the guy that you can move to, particularly in Supercoach, to make some money and get some scoring as he takes that midfield role at North Melbourne. All right, so just from a rookie perspective, it's interesting, if you think that this is the week to try and generate some money or get some cash gen into your side, are these rookies must have? And that's something that I've been deliberating over for the last sort of 24 to 48 hours. So Jacob Farrow at Essendon, they were obviously keen to get the ball in his hands, and he looked good when he was kicking. That left boot is clearly a weapon. How much faith do they put in a first-year player, a first gamer? Can we trust his job security? That is clearly an issue. But he is well priced, and if someone's got to make us some cash, maybe Farrow's your man. You get another week to look at him in Supercoach. Oscar Steen played really well, didn't score a huge one, particularly in fantasy, but as that second ruck for Collingwood, looked really promising with that leap, that centre bounce. Josh Lindsay, if you traded him out, I think you could safely trade him back in, hoping that his job security is increased at West Coast. Perhaps he's moved past Tom Cole in that pecking order, and Ryan Marrick as well. Over at Adelaide, Hugh Bond is on the bubble in Supercoach. He would potentially be an option for you, but there's a lot of guys to come back for the Crows, so just worth looking at this week. Todd Marshall, don't know what is happening with his ankle, but of course he's on the bubble in Supercoach as well. And Jack Watkins is worth talking about. He's had a good start to the year. Seems like he's got that midfield role at Port Adelaide. Just let's have a look at the team structure this week. You'd think that Wines comes in for Brodie, and that's a fairly easy move for Josh Carr. But Miles Bergman is also due to come back into the side. And does he sort of take Watkins' midfield role? That's, I think, something that we need to be aware of when we're buying into a player who we're hoping is going to have good job security, particularly at that price. In Supercoach, if you missed Willem Dersma, I don't think it's too late to get on board. Perhaps in fantasy, at sort of pretty expensive price tag, it might be too late. So there's a few rookies for you. From a premium perspective, I wouldn't blame you from going to the top for Marcus Bontempelli, like I said earlier. The guys we're trading out, I think, if you've still got Darcy Parish, I think this is the week to go. For him, it's clear that he's not going to be that consistent scorer that we were hoping for, and perhaps the game has gone past him a little bit. So Monday Rage trades, tinker with that team, see how it looks. At the moment, I've got Millera going out, and I held Christian Petrarca, so he goes to Rochelle. It leaves me about 350k to make an upgrade next week. However, I am considering a move for, say, a rookie like Jacob Farrow, or perhaps even Watkins, just to generate a bit of cash, because at the moment it's looking pretty bare on the benches. Let us know your Rage trades. Get in touch on Goat Fantasy through the socials, and we'll have a mailbag up for you soon and some updates from around the grounds as well. Nice to check in. We'll catch up soon.